Hi, my name's Johnny, and today we are taking a look at the classic vibe 70s jazz bass from Squier. You know the drill, I don't really need to explain anything about this series. The Squier Classic Vibe series is well known for its top quality at affordable prices. That's kind of the reputation they've got, but a lot of you in the comments about any kind of Squier stuff we've been talking about, I've been finding that you've been getting lots of lemons, lots of not very good ones where they've perhaps not been checked properly in the quality control section of the factory in Indonesia. Of course, when you're mass producing to drive that price down, things are going to slip through the cracks. Hence why America made instruments where they've got lots of actual hands on them, checking them, take more time, higher paid workers, and ultimately a higher cost. So this 70s vibe bass might look familiar because it actually replaces the old vintage modified range. Do you remember that one, the kind of natural-ish body with the block inlays, and it had silver knobs on it? That one sold phenomenally well and was well renowned as being a fantastic bass. So let's not beat around the bush. This is a jazz bass. It's just a passive jazz bass. Really standard parts in terms of its construction, and there's really nothing out of the ordinary that I can really talk too much about. So let's just start at the top of the bass and make our way down and kind of comment what I think about each component. I'm not going to bore you with the actual specs, I'm just going to tell you what I think, because that's why you're here, right? You can read the specs anywhere online. So the machine heads and the tuners at the top, absolutely fine. I have zero problems with here. I've had this bass for a month or so, I'd say. It holds its tuning really, really well, I think. Now, in the 70s, they tend to have all the massive logos on the headstock. That is by far my favourite look for Fenders. The neck itself is a heavy gloss finish on the back, so not really for me. I would recommend getting a bit of sandpaper and just sanding off a bit of that gloss finish. Some people out there absolutely love gloss finishes, and that's absolutely fine. It's personal preference. For me, it's a bit too sticky. You know, I like a satin neck, more satin than unfinished, but if you were to remove a tiny bit of that gloss, you kind of get closer to that feel. Fret edges, I've got zero problems with any sprouting, feels really, really smooth. And yeah, the quality control side seems great so far, and no issues. Now, I want to talk about my favourite thing about this bass, and that is, let's just get it a second. I absolutely love what Squier are doing with their necks recently. Like this kind of really orangey, tiki style stain that they've got on it is just stunning. I absolutely love it. It kind of gives it a faux roasted maple-esque look where it's a bit darker than your standard maple, especially with the block inlays on this one in particular. So good. It also makes the grain really stand out. I'll try and get some shots of the grain itself, but let's not forget, this bass is like between 320 and 350 pounds. I see it kind of varying in those kind of price ranges, and it depends on the colour as well. It seems that some are more rare than others. I actually wanted to get the sunburst one, and then the black one, and then this one. And let me say, I am so glad that I got the natural one. As well as being like a classic 70s look, the pictures that Fender put up do not do these basses justice. The tint of that neck just doesn't come through in their photos, and the body almost looks the same colour as the neck. Look at the colour difference. I absolutely love it. It again makes it look more like it's a roasted maple neck, or that there's something fancy going on. Beautiful grain as well coming through on that body. Now, like I said, the Indonesian Squier factory seems to be getting a bit of a bad rap recently. There's a bit of a weird choice in this guitar that maybe wouldn't pass quality control somewhere, or wouldn't happen on a more higher production line. The differences in wood that have been used to put this together. Now you can clearly see that there are 3 pieces of wood in here. This bottom wing in particular is totally different. The colour's different, the grain's a bit different. That would not pass in like an American Fender factory, but I love it. And when I was looking at picking one of these up, 2 of these came up at the same time and around the same price, and I chose to go with this one because of that different coloured wood. I thought it was really interesting, not just as a talking point, but also it just looked awesome and really unique, and yeah, it kind of stands out, and I really like that. So let's have a listen to how it sounds. kind of sounds like a jazz bass. The pickups in this bass, I think, sound really fat and can really give you this warm, almost a tiny bit scooped kind of sound, and I really like it. The great thing about a jazz bass is that it can fit so many genres and playing styles. The only problem I find with basses like this is that it looks great, feels great, just not getting much character from it though. I feel like I want the pickups to be slightly higher output, maybe a bit more clarity in there. Not that they sound muddy at all, I just don't get that like classic nice pop I get from a jazz bass normally. I don't know, there's something that isn't just like jumping out to me about the sound. It sounds good, and with some tweaking you can, get some amazing sounds out of it, but when I first picked up and played it for a little bit, I didn't get like really inspired, or I didn't like jump out at me, But then definitely I think over time I grew to appreciate it more. Like I said, I've had this for, probably a couple of months now, and my appreciation and love for the bass has grown over that time. So I think if you buy this bass and you're not jazzed about the sound straight away, give it a bit of time. It's a slow grower in terms of sound, and it is a really solid sound. I think it's a great foundation for building a fantastic tone. So a bit of a boring review there, because there's kind of not much to say about this bass apart from the looks, I think. It kind of sounds fine, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing incredible that's blown my mind, but at the same time, it sounds good, and for the price you're getting it for, it is a good deal. I would recommend with these Squiers. Whilst I haven't had any issues, I have had the chance to play them before buying them, and so I would recommend doing the same if you can, wherever you are in the world. I think that's it. Don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe for even more. We might even be doing a comparison between this bass and its cheaper, German cousin? Stick around for lots more bass videos coming your way very soon, every week in fact. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.